For the Voice of Truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
You're listening to INCRadio.
Broadcasting live from Chicago, Illinois. DZEM 954 AM station. Here to bring you great conversations about faith, people, places, culture, and recent events all around the district. Join us on YouTube at INCRadio.org. Hello, Northern Midwest and the rest of the world. It's time to get this show started.
Yes, it is time to get our show started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to INCRadio Northern Midwest. I am one of your hosts for today, also John Valcruz, live here from Rockford, Illinois, and I'm joined by two of my friends here in the district. Let's first call on one of my friends. They're closer here, and also in Illinois. Abe. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself. This is your first time seeing me.
I like how in our intros we kind of make it a guessing game a little bit, just to try to figure out who's next. But figured out it was me this time. Hi everyone, Abriel Romero from Bloomingdale, Illinois, District of Great Lakes. Hi everyone.
Yes, thank you for joining me here. Then we also have another one of our friends. They're from Michigan. I'm not gonna say where. So I know it's part of her intro. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
Yeah, EJ knows he won't take that from me, right? From Michigan. Wait, this way. Yes. I always forget when it's the different hands because you have to face it. Michigan. Anyway,
that's I think.
Tony Roosevelt Broadcasting from Sterling Heights, Michigan. Shout out to all of the brethren here in Sterling Heights and everyone who's supporting there in Team Live Chat. I already see it zooming, and I'm excited to talk about today's topic with all of them. Yeah.
I see a lot of Sterling Heights, a lot of Bloomingdale there in our live chat, and yes, as you can see down here, our topic today is going to be about genres and storytelling. So when you think of it, you kind of think of maybe reading, maybe a little bit of writing. So I know the two of you are also kind of maybe not avid, but the two of you are also readers as well. So let me ask you, what's kind of the first thing that catches your attention? When, let's say you're at a bookstore, what catches your attention to a book and you're like, oh, I want to try reading that.
The title for me, I want to say. Abe, you looked like you're...
Because I kind of feel like it's based off of other media. If I see a book that's really to a movie, then I'm like, oh, I'll gravitate towards that book and see. So I don't think I've really gone out and looked for a book just originally, unless it was related to some other form of media. Just me.
I can see that, definitely. I can see that. It catches your interest. Definitely catches your interest when you find a book with the title wait, isn't this a movie? And kind of you can it makes you check it out, right? But I thought I want to ask what's what about the title interesting?
Weird titles. I'm into titles that kind of make you stop wait, what? Because then it usually makes for an interesting story when you see a weird title. I wish I could mention a few. Just a lot of the ones I feel that I gravitate towards. I'll use that word. Was that Abe who used that? Yeah, I gravitate towards is something that's a metaphor, possibly. Because what I've noticed about a lot of authors, the way that they pick their title, at least from the books that I've read, it works into the story in a very clever way. And I like that aha moment when you reach that point in the story, that's why the book is called that. And you're like,
Or like it reminds me of like when you're watching a movie and you're like they said that thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, the title. These are the title. Yeah, it's always a fun, like a meta, very meta moment. Not meta, like not sponsoring meta, but like
It kind of is like, yeah, oh, that's why that's called like that. But I forgot what I was gonna say.
they're you. I mean, for you, EJ, is it the same? Do you also do something similar?
I mean, the cover definitely catches my
Yeah.
attention, but like the thing that makes me decide if I want to read the book is like the synopsis in the back of
Oh.
the book, especially if it's still like if the book's like plastic wrapped and you can't open it to see like the first few the first few pages. Like that's like kind of like I read like the synopsis in the back, and then that's when I decide, like, is this something I want to spend my money on? Like, is this something I want to buy?
Quick question though. Do you guys in terms of what you read now, are you like the digital or do you still get the physical books?
I read a lot like digitally, but
Mm.
in all honesty, I do like having like physical copies. And sorry, I'm looking that way because that's where my books are. I do like having like physical copies of like books. That I don't know about you guys, but I like the new books now.
Abe had a reaction. I saw
I'm
him.
actually a I don't know. I prefer physical copies. Um for some reason that's like whenever I'm on a flight, I just prefer a physical book in hand as opposed to a digital one. I don't know if it's just because of like eye strain. I know all of us have glasses,
Yes.
but like
Yes.
reading at night's kind of uh, that probably attribute or contributed to why we have glasses. But no, for some reason I'm a physical book. Um, I lean towards getting those. I don't know. There's just something about like holding a book and flipping the page. I know it's more like
No, I'm with you on the eye strain thing. Like I can't
Yeah. Same.
I can't read like a lot when it's like on like a screen
Mhm.
because
Hmm.
the light and everything.
Yeah.
No, it's I know it's harsh on the eyes. Like
Even if you don't have the blue light on, like how you can like kind of filter that out, it's still I feel like over time it just makes my eyes more like you can't read as much when you're doing the digital versus the physical. And the reason why I asked that though is because, for the cover or what like piques your attention, is it the same? Is it still the same?
mm,
Like when you're like scrolling through?
because like let's say like when like maybe you're looking at like audiobooks. Yeah, you know how like when you're looking at the like let's say a digital like bookstore, like there's like an audiobook option, and then there's like the PDF copy kind of like version, I guess, that you can open on like your tablet or something. Like the cover is still like included, like the scanned, I guess, the scanned um cover of the book. It's still there, so that still like catches my attention. I will admit, like aside from the cover, the title also catches my attention, but the the cover definitely is, like whatever art is there on the cover, definitely what catches my attention first. But yeah, like reading the synopsis, that's when I decide, like, if do I want to spend my not just my money, do I want to spend my time on this? Like let's say read a like 123 pages of a book, and then you're like, wow, I wasted a lot of time there.
That sad moment. Do you ever like stop reading a book or are you determined to finish one once you've started?
Depends on the length. If
Okay.
it's like a long,
Just
if it's
curious.
like a long book, and let's say I'm like 20, 30 pages in, and it still hasn't like captivated me, I'm more likely to put it down and just say, um, you know what, maybe another time. Maybe another time. But I would say there are some books where you read the first sentence and you're like, okay, okay, let's see what you're about. And yeah, it's like I can say there's like only two books where I've gone through reading and rereading them because of like how you know how how much I like them. I don't want to say how good they are because that's kind of subjective, right? When you say that. So because just how much I like those books. But what got you guys into like reading?
School. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, right, like you get
Mhm.
books read to you by like your parents or like your relatives. I think I
Yeah.
remember like my cousins reading to me some book. I don't know which, but when I was younger, definitely. But like once in school, like they use books to like improve your vocabulary or like um something similar to that, like part of it, like an English lesson. Then I think it was also like a requirement when we were younger to like, oh, you need to read this many books. So it was. I don't want to say it was forced, but you know what I mean. Like, but at least
Encouraged.
good thing there and encouraged, right? At least a good thing there was you kind of got to pick at times which book you did
Mhm.
want to read. So that's where I went to maybe the ones with like the awesome cover page or the nice art on the front or something like that, or just ones that have been recommended to by friends. I think I saw that in our YouTube live chat earlier, where like some people got into reading too, just based off of what other people have recommended to them. So yeah, that's how I got started reading. At least there was some choice I had, but mainly for schoolwork.
I think for me, it's like my parents got me a lot of like it. They got me and my brothers a lot of like those kind of like encyclopedia for kids. So it's informative, but there's also a lot of pictures. So like as a kid, like you see a book with a lot of pictures, it's like I want to read that instead. So they got us those encyclopedia for kids. So that was sort of like the beginning, but I really got into reading like high school, high school literature class, and I think I told the story before. Our teacher made us like when we're reading a story, our teachers made us act as like they assign. She assigned like characters to us, and they're like, you're gonna act that character's like, part. So it was kind of like literature and also like play theater of it. And that's what got me into like reading because I feel like if I'm just reading it and I'm not very visual when I'm reading it, like I don't imagine it as much, but to act it out, like it kind of feel like I absorbed the story better that way. So it got me interested into into reading. But how about you, Tom?
Mine was also high school. My sister would read a lot growing up, so there was always books in the house. It wasn't that we didn't have stuff to read, but most of the reading I did when I was really, really younger, like when we had those big, it's not the encyclopedia ones, but it's those big books that had multiple stories in them, right? Where you could
Oh,
do, they had like just different things. But when I actually started reading on my own, like voluntarily, was after an advanced placement class that I had in high school that where we studied literature. And that's where I became, because I feel like just consuming any kind of content, whether it's films or it's music, like musicals maybe, or TV shows, and especially like reading books. I'm really I'm really technical, only in the sense that I appreciate the like craftsmanship of being able to create that kind of stuff. Because I also like writing as well, and being able to, I guess, the reverse, like what's the like unpacking or kind of like deconstructing how they did it. It's really I learned a lot of that when I took that class, so that made me appreciate reading a lot more. I was like, oh yeah, this is really cool how they use these techniques to be able to subtly, get these things across. Like, oh wow, that's also why I love poetry too, so it's kind of mixed in with that as well.
mhm. You like actually, since you mentioned now you're also a writer. Do you have kind of like a go-to genre or trope? Like, let's say when you're writing, like these are the kind of genres that you gravitate towards, and these are like the kind of like tropes you end up usually writing about.
I feel like the stuff that I like watching is kind of similar to what I write as well. I like slice of life type of content, like certain
Mm.
TV shows where it just shows the everyday life, but the ordinary fun things that kind of happen, the adventures that happen in between. I like writing that kind of stuff, just like a story, like maybe the character is going through this arc, and all these things just come up that you don't expect. But it's the character himself. Like maybe they're just like an immature, like teenage boy or teenage girl, and then they're like they're just going through these growing moments. Those are always fun to watch because then you can relate to it too, right? But I also love mystery. I've always loved mystery, and there's a lot of TV shows I think that kind of meld those two aspects together that I enjoy. Books, I'm trying to learn to read more. Um, I'm not an avid reader, so like what you said earlier, EJ, but reading and writing, trying to open myself up to more genres too. I think I want to try horror at one point just to see how they, create the suspense and building that up. That's also like fun to kind of see how people do that.
I would also want to learn because when I tried writing, that's actually the genre that I tried to write first. I tried to write
Really?
horror or like scary. So, but the thing is, I like I don't know if it's just me or if I'm just not really or if I'm really just not that good at writing horror. But I'm not convinced. Like you know what they say that like if you write a comedy, the jokes have to make you laugh. If you write drama, it has to make you cry. If you write horror, it has to scare you. As the author, it has to be something that will scare you as well. Like, and I didn't feel that. Like when like when I'm done writing and I'm reading it, I'm like, I don't really feel scared. So I don't know if this works. So like horror is kind of like the first thing that I tried writing about, and uh, what I did end up writing, and like just to preface it, since this was like 15, 16 years old, so standard like teenage like affair, I guess. Is like I tried writing slice of life slash romance a little bit, but I tried to insert more comedy like into it. And those were the stories where I was able to write them, I would say, decently. Not the best, but like it's believable enough. It's believable enough to see that it's a slice of life comedy kind of thing. And we didn't really define for those who don't know what like the difference between a genre and a trope is.
Ooh, good point.
So, and actually, pop quiz. Let me ask you guys. Wait, what's the
Oh,
difference between a genre and a trope?
Wait, Abe, you go.
was that just like a pop quiz thing too? You're just doing popcorn now? Okay, so I think genre you can define kind of as like what everyone thinks of like types of books. So maybe like a
Mm,
comedy, like what we were talking about before, horror,
yes.
um, drama, adventure, like that. But if
Mm,
you're talking trope, I think you go more into the plot a little bit more and characters.
Mhm.
mm,
So you're defining maybe like an underdog story or like hero versus villain type of thing,
mm.
or the way maybe like a group of friends discover something. I don't know.
Oh, Hero's Journey. Yeah. Or
Here's-
I think that's Hero's Journey or Five Man Band. I think
It's
that's
like a
I don't know.
ensemble type. I like those as well. The ensemble type of stories where you get like different perspectives from
mm,
everybody, and it kind of helps build the story. Another one, I don't know if I know you mentioned you kind of like romance, EJ. For Abe, I don't know about you. I see this all the time in those who are in the live chat who are probably watching K dramas. There's so many subsets of romance of like
Yeah.
like a competition to like they become a couple, or what's the other one, like enemies, like they don't like each other, and they end up
um,
becoming a couple, or like friends to becoming a
Uh,
couple. There's different variances of those.
there's
Are you
like
guys?
I've
the
seen ones where it's like fake, like they started as fake couples.
Oh yeah, yeah.
uh, no. And then there's also like the one who's like poorer and the one who's like richer type of thing. Like
Yeah,
that
struggle
one. I
story.
see that a lot too.
I saw also in the live chat, Michael Gallego. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that right, but he said I go more to who the author is. So does that also play a part in how you guys pick things?
I mean,
Somewhat.
yes, some authors, like especially if you read a couple of their books and you know that they're I guess it's like like they already have like that. They already built that trust that like like this author, he writes books that I like, so I'm gonna gravitate towards the books that he writes because like I think as writers we tend to write similar. At least from what I noticed from my what I wrote is like there's definitely a lot of like repeating like tropes, where I read. And if like it's the same way where if you like what they wrote, you're most likely to think, oh, I'm probably gonna write or probably gonna like what they write next. Right. So I get that. I get like gravitating towards like a certain author of a book. And uh but just going into I don't know, since we're running a little a little short on time, what would you guys say is sort of like just for maybe the kids out there who still don't like reading because it's I know it's not as fun as it's not as fun as watching a movie or something, like what would you say are the benefits of like
I was gonna say if you're not a digital reader, a benefit there is no eye strain, but you have those who read at night. But um, I kind of referenced this at the beginning, but your improvement in vocabulary and
reading?
yeah, I've learned a whole bunch of like lengthy words and I had like no idea what they meant, and so of course you get to look it up to understand
Did
what
you
they
also have a dictionary next to you when you were reading books? You're like, what does that even mean?
sometimes I would or just like go turn to the computer next to you and like look it up, but yeah, but yeah, I mean like there's so many because reading and like all the genres and tropes are so diverse, you're bound to encounter like some new language or like syntax or something like that that you have no idea what those words mean. And so yeah, it's definitely helped my vocabulary, my lexicon. What's another synonym for for vocabulary? I just want to like insert that as much as possible, but you get my point. It's definitely helped in that regard.
How about you, Don?
I want to say what I've read. Okay, I'm not an expert. I don't have any certifications on this. There are some things that I was reading before that actually reading was one of the highest predictors for those doing well on the standardized tests. So it really enriches the way that you are able to process information. I think it strengthens. I think Abe, you pretty much hit a lot of those points just because of vocabulary and structure and all those different things, but also with just more simply like being more um being exposed to the way that kind of people think, like the way that they create these worlds and how these characters, and being able to see yourself sometimes those different qualities, even though it may be something that's like fantasy, it kind of helps you think a little bit more about different perspectives, and that's always nice to see, even though we should always be careful, right, about the things that we adopt, in terms of what we practice and everything. You can kind of just see like, oh, that's what's out there, and then learn from those things and kind of take things as they are. And I like just being able to also relax. I think that's what I'm doing more with reading now. It kind of helps me just kind of decompress and just kind of pause my brain for a little bit. It gives you that break to just enjoy.
Make it
Yeah.
an occasion, right? Like
Yeah.
like set aside, like maybe get yourself some tea, maybe a warm blanket, and then tea, warm blanket. Like make it an occasion, like when you're reading a book. Make it special as well. And I like what you said about like also being mindful of like what you absorb. Like I know, like especially my teenage years, I tend to kind of absorb the characteristics of the character, the main character of a story I read. Like I kind of adapt their mannerisms and everything. Like I was that type of kid. So it's but like I said, like be and also be mindful of like what you take. Like, there's I know there's it's one thing to learn, like maybe from what the point is, right, of their character art, and then to adapt it into, especially for us, right, especially for us members of the Church of Christ, right, adapting it, and um, also kind of, what's the term for it, where you're sort of like, okay, like, this is good, this movie, like, take into consideration more. But
Discernment, I
yeah,
think.
discernment. Yeah, there you go. That was the word I was looking for.
Having good judgment as Christians,
Mhm.
right? What are things to, you know, just being careful, right? I think just being careful with media in general. But just speaking on learning, right? As we have like learned different things, different opinions about our topic today, which is really fun. Thank you, Team Live Chat, for commenting all of those different things here. I'm sorry we didn't get to read everything, but we don't want to close out the show without doing our "This is your sign." So this is your sign for the week is I'm reading a book. We got a full phrase for you, so let's watch.
This is your song.
I'm Sister Alexis of the CSD, or the Christian Society for the Deaf, and for the sign of the week, we will be signing I'm reading. To do this sign, what you'll do first is take your dominant hand and just point at yourself. This will signify I'm. Next, what you'll do is take your non-dominant hand and have it out in front of you at an angle like this, with your palm up. What you'll do next, take your dominant hand and have your index and middle finger up, or have the letter V. And what you'll do next is bring it to your non-dominant hand. Make sure you're not touching your non-dominant hand, and just move your hand downward, as if you're swiping down your phone or tablet. So this is reading. To put it together, this is I'm reading. However, if you want to signify you're reading a book, for example, so this will be book. So to sign I'm reading a book or this book, it will be like this. I'm reading a book. One more time.
This is your song.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you to our Christian Society for the Deaf, our team there. We appreciate all the stuff that you do, even the different activities that you always teach us to learn these things. And we have more upcoming activities, right, EJ? Right.
Yes,
What
yes,
action?
yes. Yeah, so as for our upcoming activities, we have our district-wide Care for Humanity tomorrow. That's gonna be uh, Racine, Wisconsin. At that's tomorrow, October 20, and then Bloomingdale and Sterling Heights we'll be watching the movie Guerrero Tres tomorrow. At also tomorrow at October 20, and for Rockford, we'll be watching that on October 27. And for our other upcoming activities, we also have the CWS. Hold on, let me just let it load. And we also have our district-wide CWS Tagisan ng Talino. That'll be on next week, October 26th. That'll be held in Park Ridge at 10 a.m. Central Time. And then after that is we have our district-wide cooking challenge for the families, the CFO, and for Bloomingdale and Rockford, that'll be on October 27. If you have your local dates, just put them there in the live chat as well.
Yay! And of course, before we close out the show, we have to do our hashtag winners. Let's see who won from last week.
There you go.
The simultaneous. All right, who do we got from last week's broadcast, October 12th? Honorable mentions. Thank you very much. All from abroad. Wow. Thank you for always tuning in with us. I see those tunes all the time. Hello to fourth place, Lake County with individual Marge J. Jesus from Louisville, Kentucky. Woo! Third place, Sterling Heights. Woo! We made it! it! With
Lenny
individuals,
Romero.
Happy birthday yesterday. Woo!
and second place, Louisville, Kentucky, and individual sister Ivy from Bloomingdale. Very nice. Number one is Bloomingdale. No shocker there. No shocker there. Of course, it's Sister Rachel. Thank you, Sister Rachel, for always. She's always there. She's always ready. She does so much. We appreciate you. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And of course, we do wish that we could stay longer, but we have to close out the show. We have to close out the show. So before we do that, special thanks to, or I'm sorry, happy anniversary and happy birthday to all of those who are having it this month. And a special thanks, of course, to our Great Lakes Assistant District Minister, Brother Arthur P. Agag, to our District Minister, Brother Ermin T. Bendicio, to our Northern Plains District Minister, Brother Elmer Parungao, and the rest of the district staff. And a very special thanks to Brother Angelo Aranya V. Manalo, our SEPSI President and CFO Coordinator, and to our Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Everyone go out there and continue to be phenomenal, and we'll be here again, same time next week, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central Time, only here on INCRadio Northern Midwest. Take care, everyone. Let's go read a book.
Yes.
Or watch a film. I can't sign that one, though. I just know. Read.
I didn't
Read.
sign-
I'm reading a book. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.